Hello, everyone. How's it going? Hey, Kylie. Good to see you again. Hope you're feeling better. All right. All right, so I'm trying the setup from last week again, hopefully with even fewer technical issues than last time. Hopefully this isn't an issue. My windows are a little screwy just because of, I don't know, reasons. But hopefully it should be alright. If there are any big issues with the stream and I don't notice them, let me know and I'll try and fix it. Otherwise, if you oh, you're hyper because of caffeine. That's good. That's good. I've got a nice cup of coffee, Irish coffee this time too. So that's a good twist. Instead of my coffee and my alcohol being separate for the stream tonight, I put them all together. So that's good. Anyway, I've also got my water because, you know, I want to be at least somewhat healthy and I don't want to purely dehydrate myself and and with no recourse. In any case, so this time we just lost Ashley, and so first I want to start off this week's stream going straight through talking to our other companions about it, seeing what's going on, seeing how everybody is reacting. Just as a reminder, we left Ashley on Vermeer to blow up to hold off the Geth, to blow up the bomb, to stop Saren's breeding an army of Krogan. And now we have everything we need to go after him, go to Ilos. So that'll be our next stop after a quick stop at the Citadel. Oh no, Kylie, you missed like maybe the last 10 or 15 minutes of the last stream. I cannot believe you missed Ash dying because it was just about the last 10 or 15 minutes. We wrapped up earlier. Wasn't much past 11, but you should definitely go back and watch that if you have not. Maybe not right now. I mean, and if you really want to open another window and rewatch it, I won't stop you. But yeah, that is the big decision, the big long-term impact decision in Mass Effect 1. And if you didn't get this from the conversations that we were talking about when we were talking about romance and Caden or not, yeah, there is a decision that you have to make between saving Ashley or saving Caden. Also, you didn't see the meme I posted in the thing on the Facebook page. That was kind of relevant. See, Kylie says, this sort of reminds me of the last few episodes of Avatar as far as regrouping and planning an attack. Yeah, we're reeling from a major loss, but it's also a major victory. We did stop Saren's big thing, but he's still a few steps ahead of us. We're still trying to catch up to him. All right, so let's jump back into it. And make sure my aspect ratio isn't off. Ah, it is. Darn it. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it just didn't apply it. Okay, that's weird. Maybe? That fixed it. That was... Okay. It's fine on the stream. It was just weird for me. Yeah, sorry, Ash. I mean, there are statistics out
I forwarded the mission update to the Citadel, Commander.
We
got confirmation on those reinforcements. Ambassador Udina wants us to report back to the Citadel. The Council's massing a joint species fleet to deal with Saren and his Geth.
I knew they'd come around. Back to the Citadel, Joker. I want the Normandy at the head of that fleet.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. But yeah, I know there are statistics out, and I think people save Ashley slightly more than they save Caden, but it's very close. And I think it's just because Caden has a reputation for kind of being a boring character. And I get that in 1. He definitely gets better and more interesting as the trilogy goes on. Then again, so does Ash, so, you know.
Good job, Shepard. Thanks to you, the Council's finally taking real action against Saren.
The Ambassador is correct. If Saren is foolish enough to attack the Citadel, as you believe, we will be ready for him.
Patrols are stationed at every mass relay linking Citadel space to the Terminus systems.
Kylie says, I sort of took a few days off social media, so I don't think I saw the meme about Ash on Facebook. Oh, yeah, so it was a joke about her namesake. Ash Williams is named after Ash Williams of Evil Dead fame. The character Ash Williams from Evil Dead. She even talks about her boomstick and says stuff like "yeah, baby" a couple of lines later on as kind of a nod to it. It's because a lot of the writers in this game were big fans of Evil Dead. And it was if you haven't seen the meme, check it out. It's one of my favorite little Mass Effect memes. It is Ash Williams from the Evil Dead put into Mass Effect armor and stuff, but with an Omni blade, like an Omni tool chainsaw. That is, yes, absolutely iconic. Love it. It is. It's one of my favorite little bits there. It's wonderful. Yeah, check it out. I even funny short story about this before we continue our conversation with the council. They can wait. It's fine. They made us wait a bunch. Excuse me. I even put him as a character into our Mass Effect tabletop. And it was him. He was just some badass soldier stuck on an abandoned space station full of basically techno zombies. They weren't husks. They were what are they called? They were a monster from 3. They were some weird Reaper creation from the 3rd game. I don't remember what they're called. But basically, they do the same thing. They infect you with a touch or a cut or something, and you turn into them. Basically, he was alone, holding out in this abandoned, creepy space station, and the team had to go and try and help him escape. One of the player characters lost an arm. Thomas, if you're watching afterwards, I know he's told me he listens to these podcasts, so shout out to you and to Frayne for getting his arm attacked and having Ash cut off his arm with an Omni chainsaw. So that was great. So Kylie says I should bring it into D&D at some point. So people think I cannot think of a proper use of a chainsaw in D&D. But I definitely like the character, and I might have to. In any case, especially if zombies come up, that kind of thing, somebody might have to that kind of character might have to show up, if nothing else. I had him as the brother of the the governor of Terra Nova, the planet we saved from the Batarian terrorists, if you recall. That was where our sort of team was based out of, and I had him based on Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks, primarily because I confuse those two actors all the time. I cannot keep them straight in my head. The actor who played Ash and the actor who played the Cooper in Twin Peaks. It was also the main character in Dune and a lot of other sci-fi and horror roles later on. They have similar faces, they have similar voices, they have similar horror hero typecasts. I mix them up all the time. So I just brought characters based on both of them in and made them brothers. Just to make fun of myself. Anyway, back to the council. We've kept them waiting long. Well, we haven't kept them waiting long enough, but we should still get back to him.
You think a blockade's gonna stop him? He's on Ilos looking for the Conduit right now. What are you doing about that?
Ilos is only accessible to the Mu relay, deep inside the Terminus systems, Commander. If we send a fleet in there, the only possible outcome is full-scale war.
Now is the time for discretion, Commander. Saren's greatest weapon was secrecy. Exposed, he is no longer a threat. This is over.
One ship going into the Terminus systems won't start a war. I can be discreet.
You detonated a nuclear device on Vermeer. I wouldn't call that discreet.
Your style served you well in the Traverse, Commander. We recognize that. But Ilos requires a deft touch. We have the situation under control.
Secrecy isn't his greatest weapon. The Conduit is.
Hey, Ego.
Saren is a
Welcome.
master manipulator. The
Ego?
Conduit
Ego?
is just a
Not sure.
distraction from his real plan to attack the Citadel.
Sovereign's the real threat. Saren's just a servant of the Reapers.
Only you have seen the Reapers, and then only in visions. We won't invade the Terminus systems because of a dream.
If Saren finds the Conduit, we're all screwed. We have to go to Ilos.
Ambassador Udina, I get the sense Commander Shepard isn't willing to let this go.
There are serious political implications here, Shepard. Humanity's made great gains thanks to you, but now you're becoming more trouble than you're worth.
You bastard! You're selling us out!
It's just politics, Commander. You've done your job, now let me do mine. We've locked out all the Normandy's primary systems until further notice you're grounded.
Okay, well, he is a son of a bitch, so...
Nobody stabs me in the back, Udina. Nobody.
I think it's time for you and your team to leave, Commander. This no longer concerns you. The Council can handle this, with my help, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ego, definitely. They're awful.
Commander, are you all right? I'm sure there's a way to appeal. We're under Alliance authority, after all, not the Council.
Official channels are closed. They were quite clear about that.
Closed. And we're supposed to accept that. So where do you think the best view will be when the Reapers roll through? If we have to sit it out, may as well get a good seat.
We're out of the game for now. I need you to be there while I figure things out.
You know you can count on me, or any of the crew, Commander.
Come on, Caden. I can get a salute from anyone on this ship. Sometimes I need a shoulder.
Yeah, I always leave a way out. You know that. I'm here for you, but we're in a rough spot, and the last thing I want to do is muddy things. Like it's all that clear to start with. Are we the pride of the fleet or not? Are we valued agents or just peons?
Can't just pull out a good old-fashioned, it'll be all right, can you?
It's that easy, huh? Okay then. Everything will be fine, Shepard. You'll figure it out.
That wasn't so hard, now was it?
I could get used to it. I guess we have some downtime to figure out what we are, huh?
Sorry to interrupt, Commander. Got a message from Captain Anderson.
He was 100% listening that whole time. There's no way he wasn't.
Are you spying on us, Joker?
No, ma'am. Just knew you were on the ship and figured I'd pass the message on. The captain said to meet him at Flux, that club down in the wards.
Well, I guess you better go then.
Let's also take Garrus. Alright, on our way, I want to look for a couple of the Keepers, because we apparently missed one. I thought I got all of them, but I missed one, so that's okay. Well, I know where to go, I think I know which one I missed. So we'll see if I can find it. Go talk around to some people on the Citadel. There is one scene that I want to get a nice solid footage of because I'm going to make a video on it shortly.
Pressure with exterior atmosphere.
It's about the whole humanism as racism
Logged.
thing that I was talking about early on. Early on in the series.
Has the deck.
So you guys will get a good idea of what they're talking about. And pretty much, you'll pretty much get a preview of what that video is going to be like because I'm going to talk about it a lot, I'm sure. Did I already scan this one? Hey, come on. What is this? Yeah, I already did. Okay. I sometimes miss that one. Yeah, definitely, Ego says, Garrus, big fan. The brother we always like to have. Yeah, Garrus is a very, very popular romance option for FemShep, but I tend to... Oh, yeah.
The Normandy isn't built for a stand-up fight. I'd rather rely on the IES than the shields.
But the stealth drive adds a new tactical level to space combat as we know it. Surprise attacks, undetected flanking maneuvers.
I don't know, Garrus. I'd rather not be the first one up the ladder in terms of figuring out new tactics.
That's fair. But yeah, I know Garrus is is a really popular option, romance option for FemShep. You're right. I see him much more as the sort of the best friend or brother in arms kind of thing than I do as, potential boyfriend material. Particularly for Shepard and given their relationship. Oh wait, down here. I don't think I went down here for the keeper. So you guys were also talking about the character development near the end. I already did. Character development near the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender and the similarities with how, the kind of getting grounded on your ship thing reminds me a lot of the failure in the Day of Black Sun and having to sort of split off and regroup and gather things back together, with the exception of the whole recruiting one of the important enemies, like Zuko, that kind of thing. That's missing here, kind of disappointingly. I like when you can do that. I like that kind of that plot element that Avatar does really, really well. It's common enough in these kinds of stories where you wind up recruiting a powerful enemy later on, and they turn things around, become a great ally, that kind of thing. It's fantastic. I really like that motif. But yeah, I can definitely see the similarities that you're talking about. Excuse me, what?
All clear.
Guys, there's no. You're good. Calm down.
Hello, Commander.
Hi.
Can't help you right now.
Okay. Anyway. There's a keeper around here somewhere. Darn it. I will find this keeper. I think it might be in the Citadel Tower. I think. But I'm going to do a once-over of everywhere just to make sure. We're going to run the route of the Citadel while we just talk about some stuff.
Alliance officials report that a Geth incursion into the Armstrong cluster has been
I will also say that I think a lot of the reasons you find similarities between Avatar and a lot of other sort of hero's journey fantasy stories is because Avatar did a great job of capturing archetypal stories. Did a very, very good job at it. Better than a lot of modern stories did. Oh, you go. That's a shame. It was really good, and as everyone in the world knows, it's on Netflix now. And you can also find it wherever you want to find it. I'm a big fan. I actually used it as I used the if you remember from the last from sort of the last half of the last season, but especially the 4-part finale. The kind of the decline of Azula's sanity is a fantastic example of the moral and psychological decline of the tyrant. The tyrant gradually and slowly goes crazy, mad with power, but then also mad trying to keep power, because that's an impossible goal in the long term. You're ultimately going to be constantly opposed, and when you're constantly opposed, you're having to constantly be paranoid about losing your power. I'm beginning to sound like Palpatine, but he was right about that, even if he was saying it deceptively. The whole the only thing that Plagueis feared was losing his power. That whole thing. Have we talked to her yet? Wait.
Thank you for all your help.
Oh yeah, we have. Okay. I know there's one out here. There. I think I already got this. I didn't. Done. Is that it? I think that's it. Do I still need to talk to Shoreband now? What? There's one more? Okay, I was missing 2, so I guess... Alright, well, let's keep looking. But anyway, I do think that is a... It's a great illustration of how a powerful, especially a politically powerful person is constantly afraid of losing their power. So we see somebody like Azula, who is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking her circle of trust, the people who she can actually place her trust in, until she is alone, truly and completely alone, as she one by one dismisses and even banishes her otherwise loyal servants because she's afraid that she can't trust them for one reason or another. Right? And you see that in a lot of stories about power, and especially about people who rise to power and people who gain absolute power. Because again, once you have absolute power, the only thing that you can seek is keeping it. Right? Plato talks about this a lot in the Republic. I've got a great lecture on tyranny and how that works. The problems with tyranny, which are both moral problems and like I said, psychological problems. You have this problem of maintaining power, but then you also have the additional problem of, well, what do you do with that power? Right, so you might... How do I put this? You might... If you're capable of achieving anything, eventually you're going to start... Let me put it this way. If you're capable of getting whatever you want, you're very soon going to start wanting new things. And I've gone over this before here, right? Yeah, you go, exactly. Absolute power leads to absolute madness. It does, invariably. Right? There's basically no way of avoiding that, because you're going to be constantly afraid of losing one's power, but then further you're going to be pursuing further and further and further ends, which are ultimately unachievable. Eventually you're going to either, on the one hand, you can run up against simply the laws of logic. You're going to start trying to pursue things that are logically impossible because you've already obtained everything that is possible, or you've moved past it, or you've gotten bored with it, or whatever the case might be.
Please do not disturb the keepers.
It better not be that one. If it is, I'm an idiot, and I know how to get that one if that is the case, because it's still there in like the end game thing. Yeah, looks like a relay. But yeah, it's either that or you're going to start wanting self-destructive things, right? So you're going to want to start doing more and more morally heinous and psychologically self-destructive things. A great example of this is in the news right now is the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, with a lot of very rich and very powerful people making regular trips to his creepy pedo island, right? I instinctively drew my gun, sorry. No, we see this kind of thing, right? So we see, well, why would people who can get anything they want pursue... How do I say this in a YouTube-friendly sort of way? Well, you know what I'm talking about. Pursue that. Pursue the kinds of services that Jeffrey Epstein was, thankfully, very, very good at procuring. Well, because you can. And when you can, you will. Right? This kind of unlimited power leads to, like you said, unlimited madness. You're eventually going to constantly be pursuing the next crazy... horrific, irredeemable thing. And this goes historically back as well. There you go. This is a hell of a collect the things mission. At least it gives us time to chat about unrelated stuff that isn't drawn strictly from the game mechanics, from the story of the game. But yeah, I will also make note. Yeah, okay. That there is very little of that kind of analysis of power in the Mass Effect series. There isn't so much of this kind of corruption due to power. Sorry for the drop frames I'm noticing. I thought I was fixing it, but I didn't fix it all the way, unfortunately. It's probably a little better, but still not perfect. But yeah, it's... there isn't too much of that. Now, there are analyses of power and the aberration of seeking power and of obtaining power and of keeping it. But it's mostly typified by the Reapers. And that's, again, mostly limited to the later games. In this game, the biggest theme that has to do with power is first of all, with the Council, the ineptitude of those in command, those in charge. Right?
Admiral Kahoku, a respected member of the Alliance military, has passed away. The veteran soldier who won the love of his troops during conflict with the Batarians died of natural causes.
Oh,
Kahoku is survived by his wife and 3 children, who are planning a small private memorial service.
That's not right. I mean, I know it's top secret military stuff, but seriously, man, that's not right. No. Ego says, Reapers are the best examples of power, and look at how everyone who fall became them. Wait, faulted them became. So let me read that again. Reapers are the best examples of power, and look how everyone who fell to them became all crazy. Okay, yay, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. So, we see indoctrinated people. We saw a lot of them last week on Vermeer. A lot of the Solarians, who were not just, brainwashed in the sense of following orders, but they were brainwashed in the sense of they were crazy. Like they seemed unhinged. They were. And so there's a lot there that it's not. Okay, so
a research facility in the Hades Gamma cluster was the victim of an attack
let's just talk over this. That's fine.
Yeah,
they seem crazy because they are, first of all, they are being drawn into this
the research center is unlikely to reopen in the near future.
This extreme locus of power, let's say, right? Which is the Reapers. Oh yeah, no problem. You're all right. I saw what you meant. Right? But they're buying into this extreme locus of power and using it to derive their, I don't know if I'd say their identity, but, what's going on here? There's a quest marker. That's weird. There was. Oh, it's gone, but okay. But yeah, in addition to that, they're also sort of becoming part of the locus of power, part of the Reapers. Right? I wonder if there was one in the back of Flux. I think there might have been. Or in Korra's Den of Flux. But let's keep looking. In any case, right, there's so there's this impetus of power, there's this impulse that power has and powerful rulers have. I guess it's not back here. To not just take over, but assimilate. Right? And this is why I think the Borg from Star Trek, things like that, are a fantastic example of tyrannical overreach. And why that gets so delightfully deconstructed in DS9 and Voyager. If you remember, who was the Maquis double agent in Voyager? Who was part of Federation security or something like that, and turned on the Federation to join the Maquis because he saw the Federation as basically just like the Borg. They were constantly reaching out and trying to assimilate everybody into their monoculture. You see the exact same thing with the Reapers, right? They want to make everything them. They want to turn them into us, if we want to put it in those terms. They want to turn everybody into a Reaper, essentially. All right, I'm going to mute for a second because mute my microphone for a second because this is, I think, a conversation that I want to get a clean recording of because again, I'm going to make a video about this. I'm also going to be talking about this shortly afterwards, so hang tight.
Excuse me, you're the Spectre, right? Commander Shepard, it is an honor to speak with you.
What's this demonstration about?
I'm Charles Saraceno of the Terra Firma Party. With Armistice Day coming soon, we're making our voices heard by the alien appeasers on the Presidium. Can I count on your support in the next election?
You're marking the end of the First Contact War with a protest.
As we have every year for the last 26 years. The war taught humanity a lesson that some would forget. If we don't stand up for ourselves, no one else will.
I thought the lesson of the First Contact War was that there's other life in the galaxy and they have opinions too.
Perhaps so, Commander. But if aliens feel free to express their opinions at gunpoint, why shouldn't we?
What happened at the mass relay was a misunderstanding. If you saw a child about to touch a gun, wouldn't you stop them?
I'd pull them away, yes. I wouldn't shoot them dead.
What are you running for?
I'm seeking one of the 5 spacer seats in Parliament. They have certain Baroque conditions for a citizen to be able to vote for them. You have to spend more than 6 months a year in space, but you can't have stayed in any one settled system for more than a month. You do spend most of your time in space, Commander.
I don't know Terra Firma's platform. What do you stand for?
Our core value is that Earth must stand firm against alien influences, politically, culturally, and in the worst case, militarily.
It's a good theory, but these people are making it sound like a racial issue.
I can't deny that some of our supporters have extreme views, but our platform is also supported by economists, sociologists, and medical professionals.
But you don't do anything to curtail the racist comments of your members.
Of course not, Commander. Whether I disagree with them or not, they have the right to express their opinion.
Sorry, I believe we need to work peacefully with other races.
We've heard that before in human history. Well-meaning naivete leads to declarations of peace in our time. We can't allow anything like Shanxi to happen again. I don't suppose I could convince you to issue a public statement of support for my candidacy. The support of the first human Spectre would be invaluable.
You have the right to your opinion, Mr. Saraceno, but with all due respect, I disagree with it.
I understand. I'm glad you support the democratic process, at least. Thank you for your time, Commander. Remember Terra Firma on Election Day, because Terra Firma remembers you.
Earth first!
No blood for aliens!
Go it alone!
I have to work the crowd, Commander. Maybe we can do lunch sometime? I have to work the crowd, Commander. Maybe we can do lunch sometime?
Okay. So this is the part where I was mentioning this repeatedly. I think I talked about this a few times earlier on in the series, very early when we first started the game, talking about space race relations, interspecies race relations, and how that is quite similar to how Terra Firma's position. That the position we just saw there is actually quite similar to the kind of enlightened humanist position you see today, because it's again based on biological species rather than based on metaphysical characteristics, and that's a big problem, you know. And that our idea of quote human rights should be based not on the human species and on the color of our blood, say, but also based on, but primarily based on being persons, being people. And there's a big difference between being a person and being a human. Those may happen to coincide, but they don't necessarily. You know what we can do?
Change your mind? You gonna help me record those wins?
Can you do that?
It's illegal to use my system, but I just need a few more wins recorded.
I think I'll take my chance.
No, I'm not gonna. No. All right, this is Flux, and this is where we talk to Captain Anderson. But let's wait. Let's come back here because we can also just quick travel here.
Soldier? Could I take a moment of your time?
Hey, it's this guy. Now let's see this too. This is an interesting one.
Soldier, I've got a major situation, and I need help from somebody with humanity's interests at heart.
What kind of situation are we talking about?
Of course, right to business. That's why humanity has the best damn fleet in the galaxy. My name is Elias Keeler. I'm an alliance negotiator. We've got a big session coming up with the Solarians. You wouldn't believe what's riding on this. I'm fighting for humanity on this one, just like you are.
I understand, it's important, so what do you need?
Well, in order to do my best for humanity, I need the best resources on the market. There's a mental stimulant that increases alertness and cognitive function. It's legal, but restricted. I've purchased the monthly limit, and I need more from the medbay.
What exactly is this stimulant?
Oh, I don't know the medical terms, but it increases mental capacity, short-term recall, that sort of thing. It helps me stay focused, and it keeps me sharp. Nothing gets by me when I'm on it.
If you know the monthly limits, why'd you go over them?
The negotiations were supposed to be last week, but the Solarians stalled it, probably deliberately. If I don't get the stimulant, I'll be a wreck. My assistant will take over, and that would be a disaster.
You should put some trust in your assistant. Didn't you train him?
My assistant wants to bend over backwards for the Citadel races. He wants to show them we're reasonable. No race will respect us until we show them who's in charge. That's what it took with the Turians. Forget my assistant.
Why is this deal so important?
The Solarians want to set up long-term trade agreements. There are billions of credits at stake. If I don't get the drug, my assistant will take over and mess up the whole deal. It would be a disaster.
You should put some trust in your assistant.
No race will respect us until we show them who's in charge.
Keeler, you've got a problem. You need to get treatment.
It might look that way from the outside, but this is just a one-time slip-up. All the top negotiators are on stimulants close to the legal limit. It's the way the game is played.
I don't see all the top negotiators soliciting help to go over the legal limit, Keeler.
Maybe you're right. I've been trying to keep humanity strong, and maybe I've pushed myself too hard. I'll tell you what, this will be the last time I use the stimulant. After this deal is finished, I'll get treatment.
No trade negotiation is worth ruining your life for. Let it go and get help.
You don't understand! Humanity needs me, and I need that stimulant. Without it, I don't know anymore. I get so tired when I run out of the stimulant. I just need one more boost.
There's no shame in having a problem, but you have to get treatment.
You're right. I'll go tell my assistant. I shouldn't be working like this. I'll get help. I'm just sorry it came to this.
Man, I'm glad caffeine doesn't have a monthly limit. Anyway, I'm not an addict, guys. I don't have a problem. Don't worry. And if I did have a problem, I could stop anytime I wanted. Don't worry. It's okay.
Freedom isn't free!
Meets in the ward's access corridor? No, we just came from here. Wait a minute. Okay. I think I know where to go. I think it's in the council area. But yeah, so that's that was a fun one. Yeah, that's a nice little side story about addiction and the easy ways of falling into addiction. Yeah, Citadel Tower. And how easy it is to kind of unknowingly slip into addiction, that kind of thing. Doing something which is or otherwise not isn't really a problem in itself. And like you know, taking a legal stimulant, something which is which doesn't even have a reputation for being addictive, that kind of thing, but that in the long term can have corresponding problems to it. But eventually it will, eventually if you allow it to, it'll have these long-term problems. Here it is. Found it because I... Oh my gosh. The fanfare is so incredibly video gamey. Forget 2010. Anyway, but yeah, so got them all. Do I need to... Oh, no, that's it. I still need to do these, but I can do them off stream, I think. I need a couple more things. Talk to Gareth. Oh, him. Yeah, still need to talk to him. He's right over here, and then that'll be about it. And then I can run over to Flux. I can find a couple more of the minerals, and then we will get to Ilos.
Any news? Did you find my brother yet?
I found your brother's body. His ship was attacked by privateers.
Willem's dead? I guess I should have expected this. When his ship dropped out of contact, I just knew. But I kept hoping he might still be alive.
I figured you'd want to know the truth, no matter how painful.
You're right. It's worse not knowing. That's what they all say, at least. Please excuse me. I need to go make arrangements for his funeral.
All right. So that's that. Let's head Flux. But yeah, I think the Reapers as a symbol of power works. It does its job. It shows the pathologies of power once one is in power. Oh no, it's in like wards. Flux. Yeah, the Reapers symbolically show the abuse of power and the pathologies of power once one is in power already, but they don't do as good of a job with the more human elements of what power can do to a person. Because again, they're not anything like human. They're ancient, powerful monsters, that kind of thing. Oh wait, let's...
Drinks and dancing down below, gambling up above. Good place to blow off some steam.
Yeah, Shepard. Let's do the Shepard dance. All right, let's stop. Let's stop before someone dies.
Hey there, welcome to Flux.
All right. Anyway, so let's talk to Anderson. Let's see what the situation is, see what he can do for us.
I'm glad you came, Shepard. I heard what happened.
They pulled me off the mission, just like when they forced you to give up the Normandy.
I know, I'm sorry. I wanted to warn you, but there was no way to get a message to you before you docked. I know you're pissed off right now, but you can't give up. They all think this is over, but we both know it's not. You have to go to Ilos. You have to stop Saren from using the Conduit.
There's only one ship that can get me into the Terminus systems undetected, and she's grounded.
Citadel controls locked out all the Normandy's systems, but if we override the Ambassador's orders, we can get them to bring the Normandy back online. You can be in the Terminus systems before anyone even knows you're gone.
If we steal the Normandy, you're the one left holding the bag.
And if Saren finds the Conduit, life as we know it is over. The Reapers will destroy us. Humans, Asari, everybody. You're the only one who can stop him, Shepard. So I'll do whatever it takes to get you on the Normandy and off this station.
Stealing the Normandy is mutiny. What if the crew won't help me?
The Normandy's your ship now, Commander. Her crew will follow you to the ends of the galaxy. We both know that.
I won't forget this, Captain. I promise.
I can unlock the Normandy from one of the consoles in the Citadel Control Center. You'll have a few minutes before anyone realizes what happened.
That's a restricted area patrolled by armed guards. How are you going to get in?
Leave that to me. Just make sure you're in the Normandy when the systems come back online.
There's gotta be a better way.
Ambassador Udina issued the lockdown order. If I can hack into the computer in his office, maybe I can override it.
He's not gonna let you waltz into his office and use his computer.
Hopefully he won't be there. If he is, I'll just have to think of something.
Udina won't let this slide, Captain. You'll be charged with treason, a capital offense.
We don't have a lot of options. I break into the Ambassador's computer, or I take my chances with the patrols in Citadel Control.
You'll have a better chance if you go after the Ambassador's computer.
I was hoping you'd say that. The Ambassador has made this personal. You ready to get the hell off this station, Commander?
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll take care of the lockdown. You get down to the Normandy and tell Joker to stand by.
All right. Let's head back to the Normandy.
Hey, good to see another human in here.
Let's not deal with him. Yeah, Anderson is fantastic. I absolutely love Captain Anderson. Soon to be Admiral if he doesn't get executed or anything. they're back. Anyway,
No blood for aliens.
Presidium. Cool. That's what I thought.
Terra firma.
Actually, wait. Is there a way to lower ward, lower markets, CSEC Academy is right this way. We can just go this way instead of going the weird way. Anderson versus Udina, top best anime battle. Absolutely, yep, absolutely. Could not be happier about what's about to happen. Yeah, I absolutely love Space Dad Udina. He is one of my favorite characters in this series, possibly one of my favorite characters in science fiction as a whole. He's fantastic in this game. He's great in the second. He doesn't stand out as well in the second, just because the second's full of lots of really good new characters. But holy crap, he's amazing in the third. He is a hero probably even more than Shepard in the third. And the ending of that one and how the role he plays with Shepard in the ending of the third game is just top notch. We will get there eventually. It'll take a very long time, but yeah, it's delightful. It's amazing. If you want to just get a sort of thematic taste for it without any spoilers, listen to the musical theme. The musical theme is called "I'm Proud of You," and it is some of his. It's the musical theme for him and Shepard at the end of Mass Effect 3, and it is just amazing. Check it out if you haven't. Even if you've played Mass Effect 3 before, you may not have heard that theme by itself before. Just kind of taking the time to admire it. You should. It's wonderful. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's one of those, and if you have played it, it'll bring that moment back really well. It's one of those in Mass Effect 3, one of those really one of those standouts that brings back the feel, the sort of, not necessarily the current memories, but sort of the emotional memories of what happened and what goes on. So if you've played it, it's great. If you haven't played it, it's just a really well composed, really well performed song. All right, so let's do this. Let's go commit mutiny, treason stuff.
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in...
Oh no, he's in his office.
Anderson, what are you doing here?
What is he gonna do?
Let's go. Get us out of here, Joker. Now.
One of the hilarious things is now you can just kind of go back to the Citadel, land, and take off as many times as you want, I think. Just because of how open the world is especially in Mass Effect 1, although 3 kind of has this problem as well, you can just kind of do things in whatever kind of order you want. And it doesn't... Oh wait, I forgot. No, I want to talk to the crew, because we just committed treason, and we just lost Ash, and all of that stuff, and we haven't really had a chance to talk to the crew yet because we went straight to the Citadel. So let's chat with everybody first. But this game has a problem with lowering the stakes in terms of the time crunch that we're obviously under.
Can't believe we stole the Normandy. I know we'll all be court-martialed if this doesn't work out, but part of me loves this.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, me too. Me too, Presley. I will note, while we're just chatting about this, about the second game, I'm still missing a few of the DLCs. So if anybody has a good place to find them for less than $24.99, which is the current price of the DLC bundle on Origin, which is significantly more than I paid for the entire trilogy, please let me know. Or if anybody is willing to go out of their way to pay for something like that, I would be eternally grateful. And it would make our playthrough of the second game all that much better, because it adds a pretty significant character as well, Kasumi, as well as some great story beats, especially in Arrival, which I, as you know, have never played. I've seen it, I've watched it through, but I've never actually played it.
Oh, damn it, no sign of pursuit? I was hoping the Council would send some ships after us. I was looking forward to putting the Normandy through her paces. Figured I'd get to see what this ship can really do.
Saren's still out there. Maybe we'll get a chance to play hide-and-seek with Sovereign.
You know, it doesn't seem like much fun when you say it, Commander. So you need something?
Nope.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah, I think we've already talked to Joker as much as we can. Yeah, Ego says, Kasumi's great, I wish you could romance her. Yes, but I get why you can't. I understand from a character design standpoint why you can't. She's very, I don't know, one track maybe we should say. She's really focused on that whole history she has with her former partner and the that kind of thing. And I know that she really, she kind of seems like she's over it in terms of how she interacts with Shepard most of the time. But during her loyalty mission in 2, it's really clear, I guess during the DLC mission, it's very clear that she has not put that behind her at all. That's very much still an important part of her, her sort of psychological makeup, that kind of thing.
This will all be over soon, Shepard. One way or another.
Oh, that's it?
This will all be over soon, Shepard.
Okay.
It's strange, being a fugitive from the Alliance. This crew has sacrificed everything for you, Shepard. Don't let us down.
Hey, Rally. Kasumi is one of the DLC characters from 2 and 3. She's a DLC character in 2, and if you have the DLC in 2, she carries over to 3. She is the spy. Hey, Rally, doing good. But yeah, she's the master thief, I think is her, tagline kind of thing. She's the sneak character with a troubled past, and again, pure DLC character who I've never actually played. Because I don't have that DLC, unfortunately. Like I was just saying, I really love to get that one, which is Something of Memory is what it's called. I don't have that one. I don't have Overlord, and I don't have Arrival. I do have Lair of the Shadow Broker, which is amazing, and I'm glad I got it, because that one in particular I got back when you could buy them individually, years ago. But that was definitely worth getting. The third game, I'm also missing Omega, but that's it. I have the other ones for Mass Effect 3, and I can live without Omega. I definitely don't want to pay $30 for it, for just that one, but, Ego says, Mass Effect 2 just has so much DLC, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it really does. I do have Zaid, and the Hammerhead things, which I will say the Hammerhead missions kind of suck, but they were a tie-in for Overlord, so I guess it makes sense. I definitely like the Mako better, and I definitely like the Nomad in Andromeda much better in terms of ground vehicles. But yeah, the Hammerhead stuff was it wasn't great too, but. But they kind of did the EA problem solving solution thingy, where instead of fixing the ground vehicle stuff for 3, they just cut it, which is not a solution. That's just making the problem go away. It's like sweeping stuff under the rug, Anyway, yeah.
Anything you need, Commander?
I wanted to see how you're dealing with Ash's death.
Dealing, ma'am. Sorry for anything I said back there. Adrenaline.
I understand. I don't like losing people either.
I've served for years, but never lost a soldier under my command. Not to hostile action, anyway. If you don't mind my asking, how did you deal with the losses on Akuz?
It was my job to get everyone out safe. I failed. I vowed not to let that happen again. Same here. I'll remember her, and I'll do better for her.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can do. Thanks for the advice, ma'am.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk later, Cade.
Okay.
I'd like that.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. There's like nothing in your personal cabin in Mass Effect 1. So, okay. Ego says, I choose the uncharted world using Mako any day over the scanning planet crap we get from ME2. I kind of like the scanning planet crap. It's nice and kind of... It's rhythmic and relaxing in a sense. It's just kind of a break from fast-paced gameplay. But so are conversations. So, it doesn't need to be there. I think they... That's one thing I think they did refine and brought back better in Mass Effect 3. The planet scanning stuff they did in Mass Effect 3 was much better. Because it's not just everything. You don't need to scan every planet, because of course not. You don't need to. There's just select items and select things you need to find. So I think they really did improve that by scaling it back and kind of focusing it in more. That said, like I said, I kind of like it, and that still said, I'm definitely not going to be doing very much planet scanning on stream because I can't imagine anything more boring in terms of gameplay than watching me scan planets. If anything, I will use it if I need an opportunity to just talk for, several minutes on end about some topic that's aside from the main plot. So I might do that, but I'll try and avoid it.
I can't believe we stole the Normandy. After everything you told me, it seems a bit extreme, don't you think?
Stealing the Normandy is a trivial risk compared to the threat of Saren.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. If you're wrong, we'll pay for it. But if you're right and we did nothing, I think we'd regret it a whole lot more. I just hope we can catch Saren before they realize we're missing.
We'll catch him. Just be ready when we do.
Yes, Commander.
All right. Anything else you have to say?
Commander, I wanted to thank you.
Oh, hey.
What for, Garrus?
For everything. Taking me with you, letting me be part of your team. I've learned a lot. I've thought a lot about what you've told me. About not sacrificing innocence to achieve the goal. About finding the best way through, not just the fastest. And I've been thinking about Dr. Saleon, too. I'd convinced myself that he deserved to die, but then I started thinking about why I wanted him dead. I realized it wasn't because of what he did to those people. That was part of it, but I think most of it was because he got away from me. He escaped under my watch, and I didn't like that. I let it become personal.
Yeah, that's actually fantastic, because this actually brings up to something that I was kind of talking about today, which is justice interpreted as vengeance or retribution, or the technical term expiation, which has really significant theoretical problems.
I'm glad you see it that way. Keep that in mind when we meet Saren.
Don't worry, Commander. I will.
Yeah, there's an issue, and I'll come back to this as well. I still want to talk to Rex and to Tali. But I do think that it's important to note this, that there are theoretical problems justifying the principle of expiation or retaliation or retribution or vengeance, if you want, in terms of punishment, right? Balancing the scales of justice, because it's not quite how things work in terms of the metaphysics of what justice is, and what harm is. I think I've talked about this before on the Red Dead stream. I don't know if I've talked about it in the context of Mass Effect, because it's less related, but it's certainly there.
Stealing an Alliance ship? Risky stuff. But I'm right behind you, Shepard. It's the least I can do.
Everyone else thinks I'm crazy.
Sometimes crazy is the best way to go. I just hope they don't catch us before we get our hands on Saren.
You and me both.
He'll get us through, Shepard.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Anything else?
Commander.
Oh, hey.
Things got heated back on Vermeer. You did what you had to do. I respect your choice.
I appreciate what you did, Rex. I won't forget it.
Just make sure it was worth it. Saren has to pay for what he's done.
We'll have him soon enough. Then he can answer for his crimes.
He'll do more than just answer if I have anything to say about it.
So long, Rex.
Yeah,
Shepard.
Yeah, as a reminder, on Vermeer, we blew up Saren's facility, which was working on a cure for the genophage, which is basically preventing Krogan from reproducing as a species. Which is pretty rough, when you really think about it. We basically helped doom the future of the Krogan race just then, and Rex helped us do it. So he's right to be concerned about making sure that what we do is the right thing to do.
We're fugitives on the run. Very exciting, Shepard. I wonder what the Council would do to us if we got caught.
She sounds way too excited about that.
Your father probably has some political pull, right? He wouldn't let them throw his little girl in jail.
You don't know my father. Stealing ships is a capital offense among my people. He'd probably want to execute us himself.
The Normandy's the best ship in the fleet. They'll never catch us.
I hope you're right.
Oh my gosh.
I should go.
See you later.
She sounded way too excited about that. Like, creepy amounts of excited about that.
Hey, Shepard. You need something?
No, that's it.
I should go.
Okay.
See you later.
I wonder what they'll do to us if they catch us. Like, okay, alright, Tally, calm down. Anyway, so yeah, let's go back out into space. Let's do a little bit of exploring, finish up gathering the things we need to gather. We do need a bit more of collecting to get done, but thankfully that'll give me a chance to talk about justice and expiation and kind of the things that that Garrus brought up. Because he was kind of right. So he was torn about the whole Dr. Salion thing, Dr. Hart as he became called. Once he decided to be extra creepy. Let's just go all the way through. See if there is anything to find in our home system, solar system. Hey, look, it's Mercury. Nothing here. Anyway, but yeah, so he's torn about the issue of, well, why go after Dr. Salion? Is it because he did something wrong? Is it for some kind of revenge? Or is it something else entirely, right? Is it about this kind of personal vendetta? Or maybe if we're wanting to be a little bit more robust in our reasoning for going after him, is it about preventing him from continuing to harm people? Because if you recall, when he had his ship and he was out on the run, he had a bunch of horrifyingly mutilated test subjects who he then had attack you. So it's not like he had, stopped doing what he was doing because he was on the run. He was absolutely still at it. He didn't stop. I think this is pretty fundamental in terms of how we think about, doing justice, quote, to criminals. Right? Because if it's purely about, returning harm for, wait a second, that's the same picture from Earth. Okay, they use the same image from Earth. That's all right. I see what. Okay. Anyway. That's fine. Anyway, I got distracted by that. Threw me off a little. Anyway, what I was saying. That's a lot of development for a barely developed colony. 47,000, not big. Anyway, right. So there's the issue, right? That returning harm for harm is what we call the principle of expiation. Right? Somebody did something bad, so we do something bad to them in return as punishment. And this is a foundation of justice. Right? This is one of the justifications we have for punishment in general. Why do we punish people? Well, because they did something wrong, and so we need to do something wrong to them in return. Now, there's other justifications for this. We can say it's a deterrent, right? So we're trying to kind of violently convince them that they ought not to do so again, which, okay, but that cannot justify itself intrinsically. Right? I say that because if it could, if a deterrent were enough to justify punishment, it would be enough to justify preemptive punishment. Right? It would justify us preemptively saying, hey, if you do this, we're going to do this to you, and we can make an example out of somebody who is not actually at fault. Right? This is a common thought experiment in judicial ethics. Right? If deterrence is a satisfactory justification for punishment, why would scapegoating not be justified? Why is it unjustified to pick an arbitrary scapegoat, accuse them of a crime, believably, so that people believe that they did it, and make an example out of them? That can't be, that cannot possibly be the sole justification for punishment, because again, it would, in that case, it would also justify preemptive action, Minority Report kind of stuff. So, okay, maybe it's to... so maybe punishment is, like I said, to even the scales, right? You've done harm to somebody, so we should harm you in return, so things are fair. All right, but I think I've gone here, if I recall. Yeah, no, I have. I've landed on all of the planets. I know I have, but I think I've missed some scans and things. Ego, yeah, Minority Report was a really good movie on issues of like preemptive justice and when it's justified to stop somebody in advance of doing wrong. Right? Is it justified to harm somebody if they have not harmed somebody first, especially if you know that they are going to? Can you forcibly prevent somebody from doing something? Because you know that they will do it through some means. Right? It's a really commonly explored theme in a lot of science fiction, especially in terms of anything that has precognition or time travel or anything like that. A similar story is found in Marvel's Civil War II, the comic run, where. If you're familiar with the first one, where Tony Stark and Mr. Fantastic, what's his name? Mr. Fantastic, whatever his name is. I cannot remember right now. But they're kind of the pro-registration folks in Civil War I, and they're basically painted as the bad guys. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, takes the same place in Civil War II. In favor of preemptively stopping crimes and other terrible actions from occurring by by use of some I think he was an inhuman with prophetic powers, and he could predict things that would happen by seeing and controlling quantum probabilities or something like that. It was very Marvel-y. It was very Marvel comic-y. Almost 100% sure we've cleared everything here, but just to make sure, real quick. I want to do this before we go to Ilos, because once you go to Ilos, that is the point of no return. I really do want to finish this. I'd like to at least close to 100% this, because these collection missions actually matter once we get to Mass Effect 3, which is so weird. But yeah, Rally, it's the story of the storyline of Civil War 2 is basically Minority Report, but with superheroes. And it's also a chance to pit our good heroes against each other, which is, I guess, not done enough otherwise. I don't know if we've landed here. I'm going to land really quick and see if we have. If it looks familiar, we'll leave, but that sounds familiar. Let's take Dally this time. No combat strength. None. This sounds really... The high winds sound really familiar. I think we did this last week, or the week before. But let's see. If there's stuff already marked off on the map, it means we have. That's the easiest way of figuring it out. Yes. Yes, we have. Alright. Just kidding. Let's go back. But yeah, that is always a good test case. That kind of question is always a good test case for figuring out if your principles of justice are just, right? Would it justify obviously unjust measures, like minority report situations, right? Things where you are doing obviously unjust things for the sake of justice. If that is ever the case, right? If it's ever the case that you are using unjust means to secure just ends, that is a surefire way of telling that there is something fundamentally wrong with your basic principles in your ethical system. That's your kind of your way of figuring out if you need to rethink those basic principles, because it functions like a reductio ad absurdum, but for practical or ethical reasoning rather than theoretical or factual reasoning. And I use factual in a very loose sense here, in a colloquial sense, just to clarify. I've definitely gone here. Yeah. Wait. Have I? I don't know, I'll check back. Ego, what do you mean by Punisher scenario? Because I think some of what the Punisher does is pretty justified, but obviously not everything. So what exactly do you mean? Vigilantism is just, superheroes. And that's kind of what they do. So I don't think that we want to say that vigilantism is per se unjustified, but what kinds of Punisher scenarios do you have in mind? Sure. Let's see if we've gone here before. I think so. Those are asteroids. That was a close call. Maybe we haven't. I don't remember being on an asteroid-swept planet. No, it does... Oh, yeah, we have. Have we seen whatever this is? Let's check that while we're here. Real quick. Okay, yeah, just in general, so using the wrong means to ensure a just end. Yeah, and I think in a lot of cases that is... Oh yeah, this was the Thresher Maw. Yeah, we were here. This was on the Admiral Kahoku questline. I remember that. But yeah, this was using unjust means to secure a just end is always necessarily wrong. First of all, because consequentialism has massive problems with it as an ethical theory, and this is one of them. But more fundamentally, it winds up being an explicit contradiction, right? It is impossible to use use something to create its opposite. And this is kind of going into where Plato talks about this in the Republic, which is, I think, one of his biggest and most overlooked insights, quite frankly. Ah, perfect. We have missed something. That's good. That might mean there's more here. Theron. Right. So he uses the example of a musician, musicians, and a musician using music to make someone unmusical. Right? A musician using his talents, using his distinct ability to make somebody unmusical. In other words, to make somebody bad at music. Right? So can a musician make someone a poor musician by way of his musical skill? Right? And he wants to say, right, obviously no. Right? The closest you can probably come is by... I need 3 more light metals and 1 more rare earth. This is awful. Alright, fine. Let's keep going. I might have to just start searching planetary surfaces. I don't want to do that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway. But he says clearly, no, some perfection cannot be used to make its opposite, right? This is in the first book of the Republic, and in fact, I have a lecture on just this section. It's, what is it, Republic 315, I think it is? Maybe 210. Numbers are popping into my head, I'm not sure which. I do have a video on my channel. It was one of my earliest videos in my philosophy lecture series. And it is crucially important because, like I said, this is one of Plato's key insights that I think gets overlooked quite a bit. And it has to do with the fundamentally, with expiation, right? This returning harm for harm being fundamentally unjustified. And it's fundamentally unjustified because, again, it would mean that you would be using injustice to pursue justice. So that's part of the problem. But the other half of the problem is, I think, more fundamental. Right? You would be using the pursuit of justice. Here we go. Good. Progress. You'd be using the pursuit of justice to come to make somebody unjust. Now that's weird and complicated and it seems counterintuitive. But his point is that, so he asks, he asks what justice is. And so what is it to call a human being justice? To call a human being just? And he says that fundamentally involves it's roughly the same as saying that that it's a good person, right? To say a person is a just person is synonymous with saying that they are a good person. Right? And so, if you were to harm something, what you're doing is you're making it a less good version of the thing that it is, right? Let's pick our 2 big guys. Just cause I want to look. And so what you're doing if you harm someone, if you return harm for harm, or if you punish someone, what you're naturally doing is you are harming them in what makes them a good person. You're making them worse qua person, right? In terms of what makes them a good person. I have found this before. Okay, bye. Darn it. I want to make sure. I don't think I have, but I want to make sure. Alright. So anyway. Right, so his point is that if you are if you're harming somebody, right, so if you're punishing someone, you're returning harm for the harm that they have done, part of what you're doing is you're harming them in terms of making them worse as a person. Right? You're making them a worse person. He analogizes this to if you harm a dog, for example, then part of what you're doing is you're making them a worse dog. You're making them worse at being a dog. Yeah, we've totally been here before. Darn it. Okay. You're making them a worse dog, right? You're making the dog a worse dog. So, if you harm a human being, you're making them a worse human being. What that means is you're making them less just. Because what it is to be a good human being is to be a just human being. Because justice is what it is to be a good person. So, he goes on from here to point out that, look, if you think that justice involves harming someone, what that means is that you think justice will ultimately make people unjust. And that can't be the case, right? Because that's another one of those contradictions, right? That ultimately winds up being self-contradictory. What you're doing is you are lithium, nice, rare earth. What you're doing is you're making somebody worse off as a person, right? And so by doing justice under this description, right, causing someone harm in return for the harm that they have done, what you're doing is you are making somebody unjust. And justice cannot cause injustice. Right? Otherwise, it's a self-contradiction. It's like music causing somebody to be unmusical. Right? It doesn't work like that. You can't just do that. That would be, again, an implicit contradiction. Right? So it can never be a good thing to do something bad to someone. Right? To put it really, maybe overly simply. So his point here is to show that, look, it doesn't make sense to try to harm someone in the pursuit of justice. And if you're trying to be just, what you're trying to do is do good for somebody, to help them, to make them better, to make them more just. And while sometimes that might involve things like education, right? So this is where this kind of gets used in favor of a kind of rehabilitative or educational justice system, which has its own problems, but that's separate. Right? What this means is that justice it cannot involve returning harm for harm. Yes, Ego, fantastic example, like the Geth versus Quarian situation, right? They're trying to reconcile. They're trying to come up with a solution to this problem. But the only solution that either side, presumably, certainly the Quarians, can come up with is to destroy the other. Right? And in large part, it's due to revenge. And we find out later, and this should be kind of obvious, that the Geth did it out of the Geth attacked the Quarians not out of necessity, but out of a combination of fear, right? Fear for their own existence, because the Quarians sort of began to threaten their existence. But then also going beyond what was needed to stop the attack, right? They pressed the attack until the Quarians were driven out of their home space. And so they continued to aggress against the Quarians, continuing to harm them until they were driven out. And now the Quarians are considering ways of harming and destroying the Geth. Right? So the issue here, I think, should be relatively obvious, because it's the issue that we've identified here, right? That the harm seems to be. Let's check here. Oh wait, this is the place with the Thorian creepers, isn't it? All right. Let's see. But yeah, the Quarians are just at this point trying to figure out ways of harming and destroying the Geth. Right? And that obviously can't be the correct solution, and the reason it can't is because it is not just because it's counterproductive in the sense that the Quarians that the Geth are going to fight back, and it's going to be an endless back and forth fight. Right? Nah, it's not here. Nothing here. Because that is the case, right? So as you said, 300 years later, and nothing has changed since then. So the destroy your enemy solution just doesn't add up. It's not just that it's unproductive, because, right, obviously it's unproductive. But beyond that, it's self-contradictory, because what they're trying to do is not, right, they're not seeking to destroy the enemy, right? Not fundamentally, not if you talk to any of the Quarians, right? Their goal isn't destroy the Geth. Their goal is to rectify the situation and recover their homeworld, right? And by seeking to exclusively destroy the Geth, what they're doing, I don't think we have come here. This one might be an actual new planet, so let's try it. Let's go with Garrus. All right. Their goal isn't, again, like I said, the goal is not to destroy the Geth. The goal is to rectify wrongdoings of the past and to recover their homeland, their home system, like their home planet. And if that is the case, if that's what they're trying to do, if that's their goal, then trying to destroy the Geth is contrary to that goal. It's not just unproductive, right? Because the Geth are currently there, right? And they were created by the Quarians. So it would be, first of all, contradictory to their past actions in terms of, destroying their own creations, right? But it would also be a kind of injustice in the pursuit of justice, right? So it winds up being a self-contradiction. So like in all of these other cases, this is an easy way of pointing out that, look, this is the wrong way of going about it. And it just happens, because of course it does, that trying to pursue justice in this upside down backwards kind of a way is naturally going to fail. It's not going to work out, because trying to pursue justice by unjust means is not only nonsensical, not only is it self-contradictory, but it's also not going to work, right? And again, the reason it's not going to work is because that's not how justice works fundamentally. All right, let's look. I feel like I've been here before, but I keep saying that every time. Let's just go. But it's, again, like I said, it's not just, it just so happens to fail. It fails because, of course, it's going to fail. It has to fail because you're not pursuing justice. You're pursuing something else. And yeah, we've been here. What is this? Actually, wait. What? That's still an exclamation point. That appears to be a new... Let's go look. Because why not? Could use some driving. Break from planet scanning. But it's like a good analogy I would maybe bring up would be like, so if you're trying to build a piece of IKEA furniture, right, you're not going to succeed at doing it if you're using the instructions for the wrong piece of furniture. And if you do succeed, it'll be completely by accident. Right? So it, like I said, like by analogy, right, to go back to the Geth and Quarian example, if the Quarians were to recover their home planet by way of destroying the Geth, maybe that would work, maybe it would happen, but it wouldn't be because they destroyed the Geth. Right? It would be accidental to the end that they were pursuing. Right? What is this? Have I not been here before?
En route.
Let's check this out. This doesn't look familiar. I mean, obviously it does. It's exactly the same map as a million other places, but we've been here. We might not have been here before. Let's run through it. Just make sure. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Anyway. But yeah, if they were to succeed, quote, succeed, at destroying the Geth, it would just be purely accidental to that they would manage to recover their homeworld. That wouldn't have, it would have been a kind of accident that they succeeded at recovering their homeworld, because that wasn't the pursued goal, right? Destroying the Geth would be. And destroying the Geth is ultimately contrary to the ultimate goal of trying to secure their homeworld. Because again, they're pursuing justice and they're also pursuing injustice in a sense. And so you can't have these contradictory goals and try and achieve both of them. It's okay, interesting. So yeah, we've definitely been here before. Alright, let's head back. Darn, waste of time. What? That's not... Okay, whatever. Oh. Alright, so yeah, I need one more light metal and one more rare earth, and that's it. I'm almost done. Jeez. Alright, this is a pain, but I want to do it because there is a significant payoff for this. If I remember correctly, there's a tiny little story beat where this actually matters in Mass Effect 3, and I don't want to miss it. So let's go for it. Anyway, so it's like to go back to the analogy, right? So if I happen to succeed at constructing my piece of furniture using the wrong instructions, it's not because I had the instructions that I had, right? I succeed at building the piece of furniture accidentally, or maybe through some other means, because I'm clever at constructing furniture. Maybe I'm just really, really a natural-born IKEA carpenter. And I just happen to be spectacularly good at following, or maybe maybe I'm so bad at following Swedish pictorial instructions that I get it so wrong, that I get the instructions so wrong that I just so happen to do the right thing for the set of the materials I have on hand. Right? Maybe I'm just so bad at following those instructions that it all works out. Right? That is certainly not succeeding at what I was trying to do. That was accidentally getting the thing done. That's all. And there's a huge difference between those two things. Yeah, why not? Let's check it out. I don't know. We've probably been here. Anyway, but yeah, so that is, I think I think this kind of gets my point across, right? So that if you're trying to do something by the wrong means, you're going to fail, and if you don't fail, it's purely by accident that you succeed, right? So doing something unjust in the pursuit of just ends. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, no, this is where... Okay, yeah, I remember this. Unless there's something back here. This is where we did that... this is where we disarmed that nuke. Remember that? Well, because humans are absolutely insane, and we sent probes into Turian space armed with thermonuclear warheads just in case someone found them. Because that's a great idea. Anyway, First Contact War was nuts. Anyway, so we had to deactivate the nuke, and I think this is where that was, if I remember right. I'm just doing a once-over for this kind of area of the map, because we didn't look at this yet. Maybe there's something down here. Oh, here. No, there's not. Alright, there's nothing here. Alright, let's head back. Yeah, ego, great idea. Because we don't want the hyper advanced aliens to discover our technology. That was the excuse, right? They didn't want the Turians to steal our technology. So we equip it with self-destruct devices that are also capable of destroying a ship or a city. That's normal. That's perfectly coherent military strategy. There's nothing insane and psychopathic about that. Yeah, a lot can go wrong as it so happens. So, I mean, this actually kind of ties in well with just war theory, as it so happens, by crazy random happenstance. So, not only is there a practical questions with respect to taping nukes to our probes and sending them into the enemy's home space. There's also the ethical questions of equipping them with nuclear warheads, presumably, especially because of the potential false detonations for these sorts of things. Yeah, we've definitely been here. Yeah, definitely been here. Because such an action fundamentally is it targets indiscriminately, right? It is not specifically directed at military targets, at strategic military targets, the kind of thing that would be justified under just war theory. It's the kind of thing which targets indiscriminately, which is, to put it mildly, a big no-no in terms of just war theory. Right? It's essentially disregarding collateral damage and possibly even targeting civilians. Because who is more likely to find and mess with a probe out in the middle of deep space? Military ships or a surveyor, maybe? Probably the surveyor. Right? That doesn't seem quite right, obviously. Right. So, this is an obvious, I think, a pretty obvious ethical problem. What the heck was that? Oh, it was this. Interesting noise. We were just here, weren't we? Yeah, we totally were. Yeah, we totally did this already. Darn it. Alright, let's go core outwards. And yeah, let's go here, and then we'll go loop-a-doo around. That'll be fine. Century. Anyway, yeah, and so the we can apply these same principles here to just war theory, right? So the goal of waging war can't be to destroy the enemy, right? The goal of waging war has to be restoring a just peace, and doing so cannot include unjust means, because again, that would be self-contradictory. It also cannot be the targeting of civilians for similar reasons, because that winds up being contrary to the ends of war. Right? That does not seek any kind of justice. It seeks either retribution or terror and fear, that kind of thing. That's why terrorism is wrong. Terrorism is primarily wrong because it targets civilians, not because it targets, not because of any particular means. But yeah, it's one of those that I think this is right. So this is a really straightforward way of testing an ethical theory, right? Or principles in an ethical theory, or first principles, especially in an ethical theory, is trying to figure out are they self-contradictory? If we apply them thoroughly. Hey, no, darn it. Right, so if we apply the principles thoroughly and consistently, do we wind up with self-contradictions? Right, and if we do, that means we have to reconsider our. Hey, was that it? That might have been it. It means we have to reconsider our principles, because again, if that amounts to a reductio ad absurdum, which is it's the same thing as the kind of fallacy we find in theoretical reasoning. Journal. Yes! All done. I'm not doing this one. It's huge pain. We're done. Time to go invade Ilos. I'm gonna save first, just in case. All right. Cool. So let's go invade Ilos. Anyway, but like I was saying, this is, I think, a really good principle for testing one's ethical theories, right? Just to make sure that, something is not wrong, we have to make sure that there's no self-contradiction. All right, let's solo it. 1v1 me, Saren. I may have to alt-tab for YouTube reasons. Because, oh hey, there's a bunch of stuff here. Neat. Huh. Downed Prothean colonies. With a really big population. Neato. What about over here? Huh. Old mining stations. Look at that. And Ilos.
Commander?
Don't you think we're a little past titles?
We're a little past a lot of things. What happens if this doesn't work out, Shepard? I mean, we mutinied, stole a prototype warship. If they wanted to get technical, they could throw in kidnapping. We're a hell of an example of humanity's best and brightest, huh?
Keep reminding myself we're doing the right thing. I don't believe me yet.
Well, if I didn't think you were doing the right thing, I wouldn't be here. It'll really hit the fan when we get to Ilos. If things don't go well, I want you to know, well, I've enjoyed serving under you.
Caden, you stopped being a subordinate a long time ago. Don't you think it's time to act like it?
Battlefield flirting is one thing, Shepard. There are regs against fraternization. Well, I suppose breach of protocol will be pretty far on the list of charges at our courts-martial. You know what? You're right. About everything. I think about losing you, and I can't stand it. And the galaxy will just keep going. Everything, even the Reapers, will come around again. But you and I, we are important right now. And this is what will never happen again. Us. Shepard, you make me feel human.
CJ, no, I did not, unfortunately. Darn it. I should have set it as my desktop background so I can just alt-tab. Darn! Oh well.
Bunk here tonight, Caden. With me.
Is that an order, Commander?
I'm not looking for a pet, Caden. I'd have gone elsewhere for that.
Oof. I'm glad you didn't. This can't change anything, Shepard. This is a good crew, the finest I've served with. I don't want to mess it up.
Okay, getting ready for the alt-tab. Aw. Okay, you get the idea. Fade to black. Hey, look, it's my stream settings. By the way, this is about how far behind you guys are, just in case you were wondering. Hey, look, analytics. Oh, something's happening. All right, let's just wait on that. Wait a few minutes. You know, yeah. So anyway, yes, Capered. It is. They're good to go. So much biotics. Absolutely. Could have been worse. Could have still been Liara. Fun fact, my desktop background goes across both of my screens. And this is an artist rendering an early concept art for the Prothean of the Citadel. Yeah. Let's see. Did they stop yet? Oh, good. All right. Yeah, there we go. Now, Joker is interrupting as he always does, and meanwhile... Oh, Jesus.
You're a sweetheart, Caden.
Joker's waiting for you on the bridge. I swear, though, if anything happens to you, take care, Shepard.
Oh, man. They're so great. Yeah. If you're really interested, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Even on YouTube, oddly, but, yeah. Now that's an upgraded cutscene. Kindly, what do you mean the night moves?
Commander? We've got company.
Have their sensors picked us up yet?
Well, stealth systems are engaged. Unless we get close enough for a visual, they won't have any idea we're here.
Picking up some strange readings from the planet's surface.
Take us down, Joker. Lock in on the coordinates.
Negative on that, Commander. The nearest landing zone's 2 clicks away.
We'll never make it in time on foot. Get us something closer.
There is nowhere closer. I've looked.
Drop us in the Mako.
You need at least 100 meters of open terrain to pull off a drop like that. The most I can find near Saren is 20.
20 meters? We'll never get in close enough for a drop.
We have to try.
Find another landing zone.
There is no other landing zone!
The descent angle's too steep.
It's our only option.
It's not an option, it's a suicide run. We don't...
I can do it.
Joker,
I can do it.
gear up and head down to the Mako. Joker, drop us right on top of that bastard.
Alright, no. I need Tally, because it's almost exclusively Geth. And there's some cool Prothean stuff, so I honestly should take Liara. That gives us no combat either way, but that's fine. I think we can survive. Or I could bring Caden. Because, you know, gotta bring the romance. Tough call. Tough call. I can fight Geth on my own without Tally. I could use combat. Yeah. Can I just... Can I bring well, no, this isn't the Citadel DLC yet. I can't just bring everyone. That's disappointing. Screw it. I'm going for story. But either way, even for... Yeah, screw it. I'm going for story. Caden and Liara, screw it. I'm gonna get wrecked. But this biotic strength will be fine. It'll be alright. Pistols only run. Let's do it. Yeah, Ego. Am I saying that right? Is it Ego or Igo?
You two,
it's
keep
driving me
moving
nuts.
inside now.
Whee! Nice one, Joker.
Heads up!
Okay.
We have to get inside this bunker before Saren finds the conduit. There is no way we're getting past that door with brute force.
Saren found some way to open it. There must be some kind of security override somewhere in this complex.
We will have to find some way to get it up and running again.
Alright. So yeah, yeah, the whole, oh no, I have to pick my tiny little squad. I mean, the in-game reasoning for it is because only so many people fit inside the Mako. But, you know, 3. But it really gets, they play with that quite a bit in the Citadel DLC in Mass Effect 3, because the entire point of that DLC is to kind of, like, subvert all of the silly gameplay tropes throughout the entire series, that included. Come on. Ooh. Go away. Alright, that's it. Alright, cool. But yeah, the entire point of that DLC is to kind of just subvert the gameplay tropes. Poke fun at everything that has happened in the series so far, which is a lot of fun. It is probably the best DLC of maybe any game, because first of all, the gameplay is delightful. The story is fun and wacky, but most of all, it does a great job fitting in with the rest of the series in a kind of a wacky sort of a way that is serious, but like there are stakes and all that. It's just that it doesn't take itself like too seriously, you know. Oh, come on. This is the downside of. Oh. Okay, well, let's start that over. But yeah, it's one of those that, let's start over. All right. It's one of those where it's very much, okay, we can do this.
Enemy sighted.
it lampshades everything that goes on throughout the rest of the series. Like, all of the silliness of, like, oh, you can only ever take 2 squad mates, or ever, under any circumstances. All of that, everything about it, the craziness of the various plots, it's great. Like I said, it's my favorite DLC probably of any game. Just fine, you know what? I'm gonna do this the dumb way. I'm gonna throw a grenade at your thigh and blow you up. There, Jesus, at least that worked. I almost expected it to not. Stop shooting me in the back. Anyway. Yeah, the ruins of Ilos are absolutely gorgeous. The only downside is when it if you're familiar with the NVIDIA graphics card Black Blob glitch, whereon it's primarily on Novaria, but it also occurs on Ilos, unless you mod properly. Where if you were running it on the wrong graphics card, it blobs out all of the characters. All of the character models get blobbed. There we go. There we go. It is one of the most annoying things about Mass Effect 1, and it was one of the reasons I was kind of hesitant to even stream it to start with, and I actually had to test some things out and make sure that the mod would work properly to fix the problem like it says it would and all that stuff. It did, thankfully. I got it all to work, and it doesn't have the problem, which is wonderful. The reason for it, if you've never experienced this, it's because you've played it on console, or you've seen somebody play it on console, or you've seen somebody play it with a... what kind of graphics card works? I think it's Intel. But only Intel works properly. The reason was it was designed... ME1 came out at a time that the PC port was very primitively done, I would say. That's probably the best way of putting it. It was done in a way that used a very specific... Actually, it wasn't primitively done. That's not fair. It was done using a bit of technology that was absolutely unique to what did I say? Intel graphics cards at the time, where no NVIDIA cards, which became the sort of dominant one, and even later Intel graphics cards used the same technology. So if you have a graphics processor which does not use whatever this weird little technology bit was, basically you're going to have, it's going to have trouble rendering certain elements. And those certain elements are in Novaria, in the facility with the Rachni, and here on Ilos. It's in no other places in the game, but it cannot possibly render character models and some of the environments, just black blobs. It's horrible. And like I said, I was actually concerned about streaming this game because I know from past experience, and based on the fact that I just bought an NVIDIA graphics card like last year, that this is a problem with my rig. That I cannot run Mass Effect 1, a 10-year-old game, because of incompatibility reasons, because of how they initially designed the game to run on consoles in a way that simply doesn't work. I don't need any of this stuff, so Omni-Gel it is.
Heads up!
Oof. Hey. Oh, it's a drone, so I can't throw it. Oh, jeez. You, however, right out of cover. Oh wait, this is just the other side. Okay, I can go through over here. Anyway, so that's a minor little issue with Mass Effect 1 that honestly I will say that the Mass Effect series has never been designed for PC. It has always been designed with consoles in mind. Also, neat little tidbit, these things, I can't get a good view of these, they're not lit well. Creepy, huh? Tentacly husk monsters. Those were originally designed to be Protheans, but the design for Protheans changed really fundamentally between 1 and 2. So these didn't turn out to be Protheans. These are, as it so happens, these are aliens from the previous cycle, called the Inusanon, or they're sculptures of the Inusanon. Who we later on discover had tentacle faces, which is cool. Neat. No, actually, so Kylie asks, does anyone else have guns and ships from Hamilton on loop in their heads during this sequence? I do not, because I actually haven't seen the thing yet. I haven't seen Hamilton yet. I know vaguely the song you're talking about, and I think it definitely fits. Ego says, while we have console wars, PlayStation X, PlayStation versus Nintendo versus Xbox, PC gaming has their own war. Video cards war is crazy. Yeah, absolutely, it's bizarre. I had no idea about this, or why there was such a conflict until this issue became apparent to me. I didn't realize that the graphics card war. Cancel. I don't need this. Where the heck am I going? Oh, right. Okay, got it. Yeah, I had no idea that the graphics card thing was this complex. Like I never imagined that there was an equivalent of console wars for PCs, because I knew PCs are custom built and PC games are built to run on basically every rig, right? No, not at all. Also, things like Fallout 4. Fallout 4, I know this one in particular because it's annoying. Fallout 4 was designed very specifically in order to push the envelope on what modern gaming PCs could handle. Right? The graphics requirements and the CPU requirements and all of that were at the very, at least the maximum requirements, were basically at the cutting edge of what was commercially available when the game was finished. The minimum requirements surpassed even state-of-the-art rigs from like a year or less ago at the time. And so that was one of those where that's actually why my wife got her most recent new PC, was when Fallout 4 came out. That was kind of how we decided on what specs we needed, because it was the reach for the sky level of what was needed, and so we figured it would be what was needed moving forward for quite some time. So when she got a new gaming laptop, we decided on what specs to get based on could it handle Fallout 4 on a reasonable graphics setting, and it could. And since then, it has, the only problem it has had, and she can speak to this more if she wants to, is power issues. There are a lot of power draw issues, especially with non-optimized games. Like, is it Death by, not Death by Daylight? Is it Death by Daylight? Or is it 7 Days to Die? One of the newish games, not newish, it's in alpha, right? If I remember right, is it causes problems for her PC, not because it's like graphically impressive or anything, but just because it's in alpha. It is not fully produced, and so it is it's so buggy as to not work. Oh, RimWorld does it too, huh? Does it now? Did it not used to? Yeah, 7 days to die, apparently. So there we go. Oh, I need to go back down the elevator, because this is literally just to go after the 2 guys up here. And oh, God. That was pointless. All right. Oh yeah, so that's a thing. So she also says, I think it also has to do with the cord that's fraying internally due to the baby tripping over it and yanking it all the time. Yes, yeah, that sounds perfectly plausible to me. After all, that's what destroyed 2 of my tablets. Thankfully, warranties and stuff managed to cover it. Damage protection. If you have children or even pets, definitely invest in the extra, like, damage protection stuff when you buy new electronics. It is so worth it. It's technical advice from Professor McCoy, I guess, tonight. That's what we're getting. In addition to an extended conversation about the fundamental nature of justice, there's also make sure you spring for that extended damage protection / warranty thing when you buy a new electronic device, especially if you have children. Oh, absolutely. But even if you just have pets, my cats have caused similar problems before.
This still has power. It must be running off its own generator.
This must be the command center for the entire complex. Saren's troops must have sealed the doors from here after he went inside. We will have to figure out how to disengage the security lockdown if we ever want to get inside that bunker.
Yeah, Kylie says my cat likes to chew on my laptop charger cord. Yeah, that's why I invested in braided cords for phone chargers. Laptop cords probably have something similar if you can find it, because again, that is so much more durable for like chewing and stuff. Yeah, CJ, my wife, says no, it used to be fine. I still haven't determined whether it's the box or the plug that connects to the computer, but either way, we're probably gonna have to buy a new replacement. Yeah, I tend to agree. It still works, but only if it's held perfectly still, which seldom happens in this house.
Take cover.
That's gonna be interesting. Let's go up. Launch. This is good cover. Oh, nice. Yes, it's perfect. Versus organics thing. There. Got him.
Clear.
The heck? I saw that bullet.
Perimeter secured.
Let's do this, just in case. Wait, what? Oh, there it is. Activate. Those are nice to have active because they fight on your side, which is delightful. For once. It's nice to have Geth active on your side. I'm gonna use up a bunch of my Omni Gel for this. It'd be nice if I could have done this to start, but whatever. Yeah, I actually, when I returned it for a warranty, because I have an, it's an Asus of some kind. Oh, jeez, that was a rocket. I just ate a rocket in the chest. That was awesome. But no, I because it's an Asus and the Asus Transformer Book Mini, highly recommend. It's just there are occasional issues with the thing that I've had to get it fixed before, and you know, durability of its charger port is kind of crap and that kind of thing because it charges on a micro USB, same thing a phone uses, instead of having a dedicated like charger port kind of thing. It's disappointing, but it's fine. It works. It's got a little detachable keyboard, pop stand. Kylie, you've seen the thing. I've used it in class, that sort of thing. But I had to get it replaced because the charger port screwed up because the cord got yanked out. But baby, I highly recommend it, especially if you're not going to do that. Regardless, though, it's great. The problem is that Asus has came out with new models of the thing so often, like literally multiple new models per year, that I have now had 4 different models of the thing purely replaced by warranty because of stupid things like that. Yeah, so that was it could hold a charge. It held a charge for a while, which was thankful. It just did not have. It definitely held a charge for a while. It's this one even more so. This one will hold a charge for like 10 hours or more of constant use. It's insane. In fact, I don't leave it on the charger for multiple days at a time because I don't use it for that long. But in any case, yeah, it's surprisingly robust, this model, because it has a tough plastic. Most of the framing is tough plastic with pieces of aluminum. It's great. The specific model I could probably tell you if you're in the market for it. Send me a message or whichever. I do highly recommend it. The only downside is this one does not have a fingerprint reader, but I can live with it. It's okay. It's worth it for the extra durability. And the SD card port is a little more reliable and in a protected location instead of just sort of right there on the side.
Come, Saren already has a head start. We have to go find him before he reaches the conduit.
Unless he's already found it, then we're just walking into a trap.
That is a chance we will have to take.
Hold on. Something's happening.
Too late. Unable to... Invading fleets. No escape.
Sounds like some kind of message, but I don't recognize the language.
It is probably in Prothean. This recording must be 50,000 years old. No wonder we cannot understand it.
The message is all broken up, but I recognize some of the words. It's a warning against the Reaper invasion.
Of course. Between the beacons and the cipher, an understanding of the Prothean language would have been transferred into your mind.
Not safe. Seek refuge inside the archives.
What's it saying? Can you make out anything useful?
Fought Reapers. The Citadel. Overwhelmed. Only hope.
Act of desperation. The Conduit. All is lost.
It said something about the Conduit, but it's too degraded to help. We should go.
Cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped.
So I gather that the Reapers cannot be stopped. Okay. That's not good news, but alright. Let's move along. It sounds like a faulty Zoom connection. Yeah. And or help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Help me, Commander Shepard. You're my only hope. Yeah, no, it's... this is... Unfortunately... I'm probably going to be talking through basically the entire boss rush. Also, it looks like we're probably going to have time to finish this game tonight. I don't think there's more than an hour worth of gameplay left, so we can probably honestly finish this if we go a little past midnight, if everybody's okay with that. Otherwise, we can wrap early when we finish on Ilos, if you would prefer that sort of thing. And then... We're supposed to go there, right? Right? Or are we going back to the Mako? Go to the archives. Return to the vehicle. Yeah. Okay, we're very close to done. If we want, we can totally finish this up and then have a relatively short stream and then possibly start 2 next week or something like that. Or, alternatively, we can go a little late and completely finish this tonight. If you guys are okay hanging around a little past midnight, I should be okay hanging around a little past midnight. Should not be a problem. So, that could be good.
Who votes we take the vehicle into the creepy...
Heck yeah. Yeah, it will. Damn right. Alright, creepy underground bunker, here we go.
I have spent my life studying the Protheans, but I never dreamed I would discover anything like this. This bunker might have been the last refuge of their entire species. Just imagine what mysteries it might hold. Imagine what secrets it might reveal.
Hey, try to remember why we're here, Saren, the Conduit, the fate of the entire known galaxy.
I am sorry. I was swept up in the moment. I just hope we have the...
What are all those things on the wall? Some kind of containers?
They look like stasis pods. The Protheans probably tried to keep themselves alive through
Oh. Oh, whoa, missiles. Oof. Okay, I can do this. Hey. There we go. There, neat. Nothing more? Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, you know what I might do is I might just stop after Vigil. So after a bunch of major plot points, and then what I'll do next week is I will start with a lot of discussion about stuff. Then we'll do the boss fight, and then we'll do some Q&A stuff for Facebook next week, for next Wednesday's stream. I think that'll about do. Because Vigil is coming up very short. See that barrier right there? Whee! Oh no, Shepard, why? Oh, jeez. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So we've got another. So that gives us another 15.
What is happening?
Uh-oh.
It's a trap! Saren must have set an ambush!
I do not think Saren is behind this.
So we'll finish after Vigil. So we'll go talk to Vigil. We'll talk about what he has to say a little bit. I'll leave us with some thoughts for next week. And then that will leave us with going towards the major boss fight. Do I just walk in, or do I have to hit the thing? I have to hit the button. Okay, there we go.
I have studied the Protheans for decades, but I have never felt this sense of foreboding. What will we find down there?
I don't know. I just hope that whatever's down here is friendly. We've got enough enemies at the moment.
All these stasis pods. Crazy. Vigil.
You are not Prothean, but you are not machine either. This eventuality was one of many that was anticipated. This is why we sent our warning through the beacons.
Looks like some kind of VI program. Pretty badly damaged.
I do not sense the taint of indoctrination upon any of you. Unlike the other that passed recently, perhaps there is still hope.
This is incredible. An actual Prothean VI, and I can understand it.
I have been monitoring your communications since you arrived at this facility. I have translated my output into a format you will comprehend. My name is Vigil. You are safe here for the moment, but that is likely to change. Soon, nowhere will be safe.
Are you some kind of artificial intelligence program?
I am an advanced non-organic analysis system, with personality imprints from Kesad Aishan, Chief Overseer of the Ilos Research Facility.
Why did you bring me here?
You must break a cycle that has continued for millions of years. But to stop it, you must understand, or you will make the same mistakes we did. The Citadel is the heart of your civilization and the seat of government, as it was with us, and as it has been with every civilization that came before us. But the Citadel is a trap. The station is actually an enormous mass relay, one that links to dark space, the empty void beyond the galaxy's horizon. When the Citadel relay is activated, the Reapers will pour through, and all you know will be destroyed.
How come nobody ever noticed the Citadel was an inactive mass relay?
The Reapers are careful to keep the greatest secrets of the Citadel hidden. That is why they created a species of seemingly benign organic caretakers. The Keepers maintain the station's most basic functions. They enable any species that discovers the Citadel to use it without fully understanding the technology. Reliance on the Keepers ensures no other species will ever discover the Citadel's true nature. Not until the relay is activated and the Reapers invade.
Glad we spent the time scanning those Keepers now, huh?
How do the Reapers survive out in dark space?
We have only theories. The researchers here came to believe the Reapers enter prolonged states of inactivity to conserve energy. This allows them to survive the thousands and thousands of years it takes for organic civilization to rebuild itself. But in this state, they are vulnerable. By retreating beyond the edges of the galaxy, they ensure no one will accidentally discover them. They keep their existence hidden until the Citadel relay is activated.
If he turns on the relay, the Reapers can wipe out the Council and the Citadel fleet in one fell swoop.
That was our fate. Our leaders were dead before we even realized we were under attack. The Reapers seized control of the Citadel, and through it, the mass relays. Communication and transportation across our empire were crippled. Each star system was isolated, cut off from the others. Easy prey for the Reaper fleets. Over the next decades, the Reapers systematically obliterated our people. World by world, system by system, they methodically wiped us out.
Okay, so there's two parts of the trap here, both of which are independently interesting, and there will be things that I really want to go into in a lot of detail next week, because these are both really neat. One is the Citadel itself as a trap. So the Citadel is a trap, and then further, the mass relays and the technology of the mass relays are a trap. So the first one, the Citadel. The Citadel is an easy, simple, incredibly accessible, and incredibly useful, and incredibly advanced centralizer, right? What the Citadel does, what the Reapers intend for the Citadel to do, is to entice the races of each cycle to centralize all of their control, all of their governance, all of their commerce, all of their records, everything in one place. What it basically makes is a central point of failure. Because once you take out that central point, that central organizational thing that keeps everything running, everything falls apart, right? It's like if you were to have it's basically having all your eggs in one basket, right? If you were to have every piece of your functioning society in one place, right? Everything that keeps your society going in one place, or in one person, or in one institution, or in one location, right? And that gets taken out, then everything is going to crumble. It's why there is a counterexample, right, to avoid this kind of thing, and even this only avoids it partially. The U.S. has a very clear line of succession, right? So if the president is unable to fulfill his duties, right, if he's killed or something, then the vice president takes his place. If the vice president is killed, then it's the Speaker of the House, or Secretary of State. Oh god, I don't remember. But there's a very clear line of succession that goes through like 14 people or something. And it's interesting that those people are never all in the same place at the same time. I think there's even like a minimum radius that they have to be from each other at any given time. There has to be at least one person from that clear line of succession away from the others. Which is why there are people always missing from things like the State of the Union address, stuff like that. So even if the president's killed and so is almost everybody else in the line of succession, it's basically impossible to completely take out the head of government. Okay, fine. Still, such a thing would be utterly disastrous. And it's because of this kind of this centralization that our society has. Now imagine that turned up so far that it's like everything is routed through this hyper-advanced, hyper-convenient, incredibly central thing, the Citadel. And that our society spans the entire galaxy. But everything is tied back to the Citadel. That's a perfect trap. Because, especially if the Reapers now have this quick, simple, easy mechanism for taking over and then taking control of and using the Citadel against civilization. Every race is screwed, right? The Reapers don't need their incredible firepower superiority. They have this single tactical advantage that lets them completely wipe out civilization at once. So everyone's screwed, right? And I have more to say about this. This is a fascinating topic because using over-centralization as a trap is brilliant. I love what they did with this because it ties in so well with what we were talking about earlier, this idea of the Reapers as the kind of the dark side of power and centralization and control. Right? So all of that ties very well together. So that's a big thing I want to talk about next week. I'm probably going to start, like I said, I'm going to start the stream talking about some of this stuff before we dive into the game. I'm going to probably just have it on the title screen and do some talking over it, that kind of thing. But yeah, fascinating. The other element of the trap is the relays and the technology. Right? The Reapers can predict every cycle how technology is going to develop because they leave breadcrumbs. Right? They leave these beginning little traces of technology to ensure, including the mass relays, which are incredibly easy to use without fully understanding, incredibly easy to activate, and then they provide a quick, simple, easy way of establishing interstellar travel. What this does is two things. One, it maintains, it allows civilization to very quickly expand, and especially to expand to the Citadel, springing the other trap. But more fundamentally, it ensures that each civilization doesn't develop alternative means of interstellar travel. Hey, Alan, good to see you again. Doing great. Good to hear from you. Right, but so by doing this, by allowing each cycle civilization to use this technology, to use the technology of the mass relays, what they do is it prevents civilizations from developing other means. Because why would a civilization invest in transportation technology other than the mass relays when the mass relays are already there? They're incredibly advanced, they're easy to use, they're efficient, they're cheap, and the technology is already developed. Right? It doesn't need any other development. Right? So why would any cycle, the civilizations of any cycle, develop something like an Alcubierre warp drive, something like you see in Star Trek, or a hyperdrive, the kind of thing you see in Star Wars or Stargate? Why would they develop wormhole technology like in Stargate or in Far Quest? In whatever else, right? Why would they develop slipstream like in Halo, anything like that, right? Which I think technically qualifies as a hyperspace type thing. But why would they develop any kind of interstellar transportation technology when they already have these mass relays here? It's inefficient, it's stupid. So naturally, they would follow the path of least resistance, every society for every cycle, because of course they would. And then the Reapers come in, they turn off all of the relays, or they take control of them and they're the only ones who can use them. And so now civilization is crumbling. It doesn't exist anymore. There is no galactic civilization. Now it's just independent little systems that can be taken down one by one by one by one by one easily. CJ says, this is my wife, Mrs. McCoy, she says, which made it really interesting when in our Mass Effect game, so talking about our tabletop game, we discovered a race that did not use mass relays and were close to hyperdrive technology. Yeah, there's a reason I implemented that in the game. Because of course, if they were, because I basically, it's pretty clear lore that there are lots of developing species that the Reapers leave alone. Further, it's quite clear that the mass relays are not everywhere. There are vast stretches of space with no mass relays. So I thought, what if a species didn't have ancient ruins, like Prothean ruins like we have, in their home system? So they develop Element Zero technology, but they can't achieve FTL with it. So that means it's basically impossible for them to colonize other planets using the sort of conventional Mass Effect means. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to try and research other ways. And so they were trying to develop other means of faster than light travel. So that was the kind of thing I was using, and I used this as kind of a as a tie-in, so that our party, who was trying to develop hyperdrive technology after the destruction of the mass relays at the end of the trilogy, which is one of the endings of the trilogy. After the destruction of the mass relays, they were trying to find an alternative, and so they made contact with this alien race, and they worked together to complete the prototype, basically finish the technology that no one had ever had a reason to think of before, because the mass relays were everywhere, or damn near everywhere. Not everywhere, but close enough to everywhere to matter. So anyway, I think that was a really good use of that in terms of my own world building that I did, to the extent that I did world building. Because like I said, I'm not good at narrative; it's not my thing. But I'm decent at big picture extrapolating where world building will go if there's a start for me. I'm not a storyteller by nature. I'm not very good at it. Anyway, so those are two aspects. I'm going to go into more detail on both of those because I think they're both absolutely brilliant from a technological standpoint and from a sociological standpoint. They're amazing. This little bit here, the trap of the Citadel, is some of the best story writing in this entire series, and it's fantastic. It's brilliant. There's also some really cool organic versus synthetic stuff that gets brought in, especially later on, and especially in 3, sort of between the organics and the Reapers, right? Especially between the creators of the Reapers and the Reapers, which gets a lot of flack because it was kind of a change. It was kind of a last-minute change that happened when 3 was being written. But no, I think honestly it fits very well with the themes of the trilogy, and it just works. I like it. I like the reason behind the Reapers that they finally came up with in 3. If you don't know what that is, we will get there eventually. It'll kind of fit together, and once we get there, I'll explain why I like it. Maybe that's also something I'll talk about next week if you guys want me to. But for now, let's continue let's continue our discussion and talk about the destruction, the absolute wholesale destruction of the Protheans at the hands, or should I say tentacles, of the Reapers.
Some of you must have managed to survive.
Through the Citadel, the Reapers had access to all our records, maps, census data. Information is power, and they knew everything about us. Their fleets advanced across every settled region of the galaxy. Some worlds were utterly destroyed. Others were conquered, their populations enslaved. These indoctrinated servants became sleeper agents under Reaper control. Taken in as refugees by other Protheans, they betrayed them to the machines. Within a few centuries, the Reapers had killed or enslaved every Prothean in the galaxy. They were relentless, brutal, and absolutely thorough.
I don't understand. Where did the Reapers go after they conquered your people?
Our worlds were stripped bare, harvested by the indoctrinated slaves. Everything of value, all resources, all technology was taken. Certain that all advanced organic life had been extinguished, the Reapers retreated back through the Citadel relay into dark space, sealing it behind them. All evidence of the Reaper invasion had been wiped away. Only their indoctrinated slaves were left behind, abandoned. Mindless husks, no longer capable of independent thought, the indoctrinated soon starved or died of exposure. The genocide of the Protheans was complete.
What do the Reapers get out of this? Why do they keep repeating this pattern of genocide over and over?
The Reapers are alien, unknowable. Perhaps they need slaves or resources. More likely they are driven by motives and goals organic beings cannot hope to comprehend. In the end, what does it matter? Your survival depends on stopping them, not in understanding them.
Thank you for the compliment, Kylie, but I mean, I'm talking more about narrative kind of storytelling rather than just kind of fiddling around with examples in class. I think that might be a different class of thing that I'm talking about. Thank you, though. I do appreciate that. That's I'm glad I can at least do that kind of thing well enough.
You said you brought me here for a reason. Tell me what I need to do.
The Conduit is the key. Before the Reapers attacked, we Protheans were on the cusp of unlocking the mysteries behind mass relay technology. Ilos was a top-secret facility. Here, researchers worked to create a small-scale version of a mass relay, one that linked directly to the Citadel, the hub of the relay network.
The Conduit is not a weapon. It is a backdoor onto the Citadel.
How did you manage to stay hidden?
All official records of our project were destroyed in the initial attack on the Citadel. While the Prothean Empire came crashing down, Ilos was spared. We severed all communication with the outside, and our facility went dark. The personnel retreated underground into these archives. To conserve resources, everyone was put into cryogenic stasis. I was programmed to monitor the facility and wake the staff when the danger had passed. But the genocide of an entire species is a long, slow process. Years passed, decades, centuries. The Reapers persisted, and my energy reserves were dwindling.
You should have fought.
We were a few hundred against a galactic invasion fleet. Our only hope was to remain undetected. I began to disable the life support of non-essential personnel. First support staff, then security. One by one, their pods were shut down to conserve energy. Eventually, only the stasis pods of the top scientists remained active. Even these were in danger of failing when the Reapers finally retreated back through the Citadel relay.
There were hundreds of stasis pods out there. You just shut them down? You killed them?
You were programmed to protect them, not kill them.
This outcome was not completely unforeseen. My actions were a result of contingency programming entered on my creation.
I bet they didn't tell the non-essential staff about this contingency.
I saved key personnel. When the Reapers retreated, the top researchers were still alive. My actions are the only reason any hope remains. When the researchers woke, they realized the Prothean species was doomed. There were only a dozen individuals left, far too few to sustain a viable population. Yet they vowed to find some way to stop the Reapers from returning. A way to break the cycle forever. And they knew the Keepers were the key.
Yeah, so here we have a little bit of a hint at the organic versus synthetic conflict. That is something I'll probably also address next week. And even if I don't address this next week, this will come back repeatedly throughout the series. The kind of synthetics that turn on organics in a sense because they are following the programming of the organic creators, that kind of thing. It's very Asimov.
I still don't understand what's going on here. Why is Saren trying to find the Conduit?
The Conduit gives him access to the Citadel and the Keepers. The Keepers are controlled by the Citadel. Before each invasion, a signal is sent through the station compelling the Keepers to activate the Citadel relay. After decades of feverish study, the scientists discovered a way to alter this signal. Using the Conduit, they gained access to the Citadel and made the modifications. This time, when Sovereign sent the signal to the Citadel, the Keepers ignored it. The Reapers are trapped in dark space.
Saren can use the Conduit to bypass all the Citadel's external defenses.
Correct. And once inside, he can transfer control of the station to Sovereign. Sovereign will override the Citadel systems and manually open the relay, and the cycle of extinction will begin again.
Is there any way we can stop them?
There's a data file in my console. Take a copy when you go. When you reach the Citadel's master control unit, upload it to the station. It will corrupt the Citadel's security protocols and give you temporary control of the station. It might give you a chance against Sovereign.
Wait, where's the Citadel's master control unit? I've never heard of anything like that.
Through the Conduit. Follow Saren. He will lead you to your destination.
If the Reapers are trapped in dark space, how did Sovereign get here?
It is logical to assume the Reapers would leave one of their own behind after each extinction. A sentinel to pave the way for their inevitable return. Like those in dark space, Sovereign probably spent most of the last 50,000 years in a state of hibernation. Periodically, it would wake to analyze the situation. Keeping its existence hidden, it would evaluate the state of galactic civilization. And when the time was right, it would signal the Citadel and usher in the next Reaper invasion. But this time the signal failed. The Keepers did not respond. Sovereign's allies were trapped in the void. Alone, it was forced to try and discover what had gone wrong.
So, interesting tidbit, you find out later on that the signal was sent during the 1870s, I think. Late 19th century, either way. Because the signal was sent at about the same time as the Morning War, the Geth versus Quarians War. So, neat little tidbit that if the Protheans had failed, or if they had not succeeded, if they had not done the Ilos project, humans probably would have survived this cycle and gone into the next cycle. And had a 50,000 year head start, which would have been cool. So that's a thing. Yeah. Also, it was maybe I shouldn't talk about that. Spoilers for 3. No, I'll hold off on. It was something to do with my my tabletop campaign, and something I kind of tied in with that. I tied in another game which was vaguely, very loosely related. The recent Call of Cthulhu game. Basically, I just said, yeah, that happened in this universe. It was misinterpreted slightly. It was relevant, trust me. If you've seen it or played it, you might be able to draw the connection.
Sovereign's the largest ship in the galaxy. Why all this secret? Why not just attack the Citadel?
Sovereign is not invincible. Revealing its true nature would have united the forces of every organic species against it. Even a Reaper couldn't survive such odds. But the Reapers are patient. They will not rush into the unknown. Sovereign could have been planning this for centuries, moving deliberately, gathering allies. Slowly, it has assembled the pieces of the puzzle, working through agents to keep itself hidden. Saren is the most visible pawn of the Reapers, but I doubt he was the first.
3 centuries, almost exactly.
Now Sovereign has grown bold. Whether from confidence or desperation, I cannot say. But it is determined to reopen the portal to dark space.
What about the beacon on Eden Prime? And the one on Vermeer? What were they for?
At our apex, the beacons spanned the breadth of our empire. We used them as a single galaxy-wide network to transmit data and communications rapidly from world to world. Virtually all the beacons were destroyed during the invasion, but once the Reapers were gone, the survivors here on Ilos decided to risk sending out a message. We knew it was unlikely there were other survivors, but if there were, we wanted them to know about Ilos. We wanted to give them hope, so a message was sent across the network.
Thanks. Kylie, good point. Today we learned that Anna from Frozen is braver than the Reapers.
You could have exposed yourself to the Reapers.
In truth, we didn't expect any of the beacons would still function, but we had to try. If there were survivors, we had to reach them. The message was meant for our own people. It was coded so only organic beings could interpret it. We still didn't understand the power of Reaper indoctrination. We never realized it could lead an agent of the machines, like Saren, to this world. But it has also led you here. So perhaps we did not fail after all.
So when the Reapers created the Citadel, they created the Keepers as well?
A more likely scenario is that the Keepers were one of the early harvested civilizations. Perhaps the very first.
Nope.
Perhaps they responded well to indoctrination, or the Reapers simply bred them to be obedient. In any case, they were left behind to operate and maintain the Citadel. But the Keepers are no longer directly controlled by Sovereign or its ilk. They evolved so that they only respond to the signals emitted by the Citadel itself. When the Protheans altered the Citadel's signals, they broke Sovereign's hold over the Keepers. Now, they are completely harmless.
Sovereign must have realized organic races were difficult to control.
A likely hypothesis. The Keepers evolved in an unanticipated direction. Non-organic servants like the Geth would be more predictable.
Well, they weren't the first.
What happened to the
I'm saying.
survivors
That's
from the
all.
Conduit project?
They used the Conduit to gain access to the Citadel, but the Conduit is only a prototype. The portal only links in one direction, so they were trapped on the station. I do not know what became of them then. It is unlikely they found any food or water on the station. I fear they suffered a slow, grim death. I only know they succeeded in their mission to seal the relay. Your presence here proves their sacrifice was not in vain.
That's
Saren's got enough of a head start. Grab that data file and let's go.
Shepard, are you sure? Who knows how much longer Vigil will be here? Even now the projection is weak. This might be our only chance to speak with it, our only link to the knowledge of the Protheans. It is the opportunity of a lifetime.
I'm sorry, Liara. We have to stop Saren. Nothing else matters.
You are right. I am sorry. My personal feelings clouded my judgment. We should go.
The one you call Saren has not reached the Conduit. Not yet. There is still hope if you hurry.
All right, so that's it. Vigil is shut down, and I think the stream is about to as well. I think. Oh well, let's just go through this while I wrap up. So with that, that's all we've got for tonight. I'm gonna leave it right here. We are next week going to start talking about some of these really, I think, fascinating issues surrounding the Protheans, surrounding the Citadel races, the Reapers, Sovereigns, Saren, all of that. Talk about any kind of loose-hanging philosophical topics that we still haven't covered. Then we're gonna finish. We're gonna kick Saren's ass, hopefully. We're going to kick Sovereign's ass, also hopefully. And then we're gonna wrap up Mass Effect 1, and we're gonna go for a Q&A stream. I'm gonna do that'll be Q&A both in the chat here. So if you guys have any questions for me about philosophy stuff, or even about me, whatever you got, have them ready in the chat. Or I'm gonna put up a post where you guys can put that kind of thing as well. That'll be on Facebook. So if you have anything there on either of those places, feel free to come at me with whatever you got, and I will be ready to answer some questions there. Also, expect this week I will have another video on SCOTUS coming out. This will be on SCOTUS and on Tolkien, oddly enough. It is edited. Thank you, Mrs. McCoy, for getting that done for me. And so that'll be up probably Friday. So that'll probably come up Friday. I've got another one in the editing room, and I've got another one or two planned. I might go into a more tightly edited video essay format. So if that's a kind of thing that you'd be interested in seeing, let me know, because I'm thinking about doing one that's more tightly edited, that kind of thing. So anyway, with that, I will say goodnight to everybody. So if you want to join me next week, we're going to be wrapping up Mass Effect. If you want to join me tomorrow night, we're going to be going back to Yeehaw Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2. And we're going to be, once again, continuing to ruin Arthur's chance for having a happy life in the town of Rhodes. So, with that, I will say goodnight to everybody. And I need to save really quick. Forgot to do that. And then I will say goodbye to everybody and to have a fantastic night. Bye-bye. Oh, look, it says end.